All right, welcome back to another tutorial video in the Precision Baseball tutorial series. In this video, we're going to cover trail runners. So this is something I've wanted to put into a ball game for a very long time, and it finally has worked out really well to go into Precision Baseball. Super excited about it. It's a part of the game that rarely gets covered, but it can be a huge part of the game and how some decisions on the field are made by the manager, by you, by the gamer. And some things are automatically done and some things are not. So let's take a look at a scenario. And we have Miggy Tejada at the plate against Freddie Garcia. Tejada hits a single to center field. Randy Winn is our center fielder. Mark Ellis is at first base. Mark Ellis is at second base and Eric Chavez is at first. So we got a complicated scenario here. So we have a base hit to center field. Randy Winn is going to pick up the ball. First, we have to decide, is Mark Ellis going to go home or not? And we've either through a question mark or whatever. So we've looked at our runner advancement on the hits to the outfield. We have a hit to center field. It's a question mark. Oakland is aggressive. And we have a question mark. So we're going to go ahead and send Mark Ellis home. We need the run. And Ellis is a +2 running. And Randy Winn, his range and his arm are going to be a -1. So we have the advantage for Mark Ellis. And I'll go through an option here after I explain to you what happens with the trail runner. So let's just go ahead and say that the throw is going to go through to the plate. There's an option that you can cut the throw off. That's why I'm saying that. So if we're going to have the throw go through to the plate, we're going to try to let Randy Winn throw him out. So Randy Winn has to use this outfield arm chart. He has a 0 for an outfield arm, so he is a 101 to 210. And look at that. So we have a 205. That falls within the range of the green. Green means out. So Randy Winn, against all probability, has thrown out Mark Ellis at the plate. So he has been eliminated. And now we need to think about our trail runners. And our trail runners are going to be the guy who's on base. He's on first base, and Tejada is the one who hit the ball. So we have two guys to kind of figure out. And what we do for trail runners is I like to print this front and back with the runner advancement. But if you don't want to print front and back, you can just print 2 sheets, whatever you want to do. It's 2 pages in the file. But you see here that there's a trail runner section. Now the trail runner is also split up into aggressive, normal, and cautious. You can find those values on the manager tendencies chart. It's to the right with all the base running tendencies. So for Oakland, they are aggressive with everything. So all the base running parts, they are aggressive. So we see here that we have a throw to third base, or we have a throw to home. On our play, we had a throw to the plate. So we're going to look down here at this line here. They're aggressive. Eric Chavez is a 1, and he is at first base. So he is going to move to second base on the single. And then we want to know, does he move up to third base on the throw? That's what we want to know. So he's a +1, and you can see on a throw to home for an aggressive team, a 1 to 5 is going to advance to third. So he advances to third on the throw as the throw goes through. Same thing for even a cautious team. You can see that. But for runners who are not quite as fast, they're not going to advance on the plate. So Eric Chavez goes to third, and now that clears a base for Miggy Tejada to try to go to second. So when we look at Tejada, he is a +1. And the same thing happens here. So they are both going to take an extra base. So both of these guys are going to wind up at second and third because they just keep trucking. They just keep going on the throw to home. So that's going to be a big shot in the arm. If you're aggressive and you have fast base runners, and the trail runners are gonna go right. Okay, so let's say you have a 2-run lead. It's the 8th inning, and you need to, and we get our scenario back. So Tejada hit the ball. Mark Ellis is at second base. We have 2 down in the, let's say it's the bottom of the 8th inning, and we need to try to preserve this lead. So we can let Mark Ellis score, and you can just determine in yourself, in your heart, that, or you say it out loud, whatever you want to do, they're going to cut off the throw. So the throw does not go all the way through to home. So then there's no play at the plate. So this guy scores automatically because the throw is cut off. And Eric Chavez moves from first to second on the single, and now you have runners at first and second base instead of at second and third base. So you can look ahead and you can even see, if I let this throw go through, you'll be able to see whether those trail runners can advance or not. And if they have a question mark, maybe you want to let the throw go through. If they have an advance, maybe you want to cut it off, because there's not a very good chance. And he did throw him out at the plate, and that would be, in our scenario with 2 outs, this scenario here, he would be out at the plate, the inning would be over. But if there weren't 2 outs and you wanted to make sure that you kept these runners in line, or you just look and you say, I don't want to take the chance, there's a 10% chance that you can get thrown out at the plate, I'm not going to take that chance. It's more important for us to hold these runners at first and second base than to have them at second and third with 2 outs and Jermaine Dye coming to the plate. So some scenarios and some different things. It's not like a cookie cutter, the action is the same depending on what you choose, but the choice is very different depending on the scenario that you're in. So what happens if there is a trail runner with a question mark? And so that is going to be a decision if, let's say, there's a couple of different scenarios, right? So let's say the base runner, the throw goes through to home, and you have a -1 base runner who's trying to, you say, I want to have him advance. Let's say that Xavi was a -2, and I want to try to advance him to third base. What you would do is the throw comes through to home plate. Whatever play is made at the plate is made, and then you're going to look at the catcher, which I don't have a catcher up, but let's see. We'll find our catcher. Our catcher's Dan Wilson, I think. So our catcher is here. Now the catcher has a fielding rating here. It's a -2. You might actually see an error rating here, but this is going to be his fielder rating. So we look at his fielder rating, and we use his fielder rating like you would use his arm. You could also use the throw rating if you wanted to, because this is technically like a throwing situation. So you could use either of these numbers. I would stick to the catcher. Actually, I would stick to the throw rating. Let's go with the throw rating. So this is a very uncommon situation for the trail runners to be advancing with a question mark, and you've run into this. You won't catch it very often. So we look at the catcher's throw rating, because he's going to catch the ball and throw to a base. And he is a -1. Eric Chavez, we've determined that he's a -2. So because Chavez's running rating is less than the catcher's throw rating, we are going to put the onus on the base runner. So then the base runner would have to use the tag up advancement extra bases chart here, and if he's a -2, he's using this. So he has a 211 to 710, so it's about a 50% chance to make it third base. So you would have to determine, is that a chance I'm willing to take? And then you would roll off of this sheet here. So you give it a roll, a 002, and he's going to be dead to rights trying to advance at third base. So that would be throw from center field to home. The runner is either safe or out, whatever it is. And then the runner tries to advance to third base. The throw goes to third, and the runner is out at third base. And if that's the third out of the inning, that's the third out. So if not, then you would want to figure out, does this trail runner here advance as well? Because now you've got a throw to home and a throw to first base If it was Miggy Tejada's normal run rating of +1, then that would be the throw to home. He would advance on that anyway. So a little bit more complicated and complex whenever you start doing trail runners and all the base runner advancement, but hopefully this gives you a good feel for what base running would be like in a real game, some of the decisions that have to be made on the base paths. And some of those things are sort of taken out of your hands. So the scenarios are sometimes set up for you, and then sometimes it's just within that decisions that you need to make. But sometimes it's just a hold. Sometimes it's an automated advance, so they would just automatically advance. So it only gets tricky if you've got to play at the plate or play at third base, somebody going first to third base, and then you're trying to figure out all these things. So just take it a step at a time. Figure out the play at the plate or third base or wherever the throw is going. Determine that. And then after that, determine what happens with the trail runners and start with the first one, because if the first trail runner holds, like if Chavez goes from first to second on a single and he's got a hold off of this chart, there's nothing that Tejada can do, right? You can't overrun somebody. So he's just going to stop at first base and you'll have runners at first and second regardless. And that would be if a slow runner is on base. That's typically what's going to happen on a play. He's not going to try to advance on a throw if he's a very slow runner. So really interesting decisions to make, and lots of intricacies in the running game and somewhat in the fielding game as well. And that covers the trail runners.